Okay, if I started streaming in 2024 and I'm starting fresh, but I know what I know now, I wouldn't even start streaming in 2024. People are not going to like this one today. First off, let's approach this from the standpoint of this is my job. I'm a full-time creator, and that is the goal for a lot of other people out there wanting to do this. If you're wanting to stream in 2024 because you have a full-time job, you already have your thing, and you just want to have fun and stream, fucking stream. Don't think too deep on it. Don't take it serious until it needs to be taken serious. Just have fun, do your thing, stick to your 9 to 5, and find the balance of also streaming on the side for fun. Don't ruin that experience based off this idea that you need to do or not do a certain thing to grow because you need to go full. Let it organically happen, or take some of the advice that I'm about to give today. Let's just be real. Most people nowadays that want to approach streaming, they want an end goal, that being their full-time gig. And why not, man? Like, what a dream it is that we get to experience this shit. I'm blessed that streaming is a large portion of I love interacting with the community that I built. But the key point is the fact that I built this community before I started streaming in the first fucking place. So if I knew what I knew now and this wasn't my job, I would go 100% all in on content for the time being until I grow a community, and then I would incorporate live streaming as a way to communicate with the community that I've built from content. Content is fucking king. I don't know when people are gonna realize how strong that statement, even your biggest streamers in the world have the additional revenue of content. They've gotten to the point where they are today, most likely from content they've put out over the years. The statistical odds of you being able to start on a live streaming site in 2024 and just go full time and fucking make it, be successful, like you articulate the idea of being successful, is so low. It's so low to the point that I think it's a little disingenuous for streamers out there to almost make it seem like it's easily obtainable. I think we confuse the idea with streaming that it's physically easier than your average 9 to 5. And sure, on that note, absolutely, it's physically, you're sitting in a chair most of the day. But the thing we're disconnected with is you don't get to decide things. You don't actually get a result based, like if you go clock into your job, you know, you go do that specific thing for X amount of hours, you're going to get something in return. That's not guaranteed in streaming. Even with Kick's new creator incentive program, a lot of streaming relies on getting yourself out there, growing a community, having your community be supportive, and then also having brands fuck with you enough to where they start giving you cash. On average, to line all that shit up to successfully be full-time is so fucking low. So yeah, I'll be the asshole and just openly say, like, a lot of people aren't gonna make this. And it's not that you don't deserve to make it. It's just, this isn't the same as going and trading your time for a specific value. You're chasing a dream. You're chasing an idea that somebody else had. And then over time, things change. Things get harder. Things adapt. Algorithms come out. New forms of content come out. New forms of social media come out. People's attention spans change in specific ways. So to string somebody along and this idea that, like, if you just do X, Y, and Z, shit will happen, it's just such a fucking blatant lie. You could do everything right. You could have the right gear, the right personality, playing the popular game at the time, and for some reason, people just still won't fuck with you. That's the delusional, annoying thing I can't stand with streaming, is some people are just drawn to somebody else. There's something about the personality or the connection or the interest that they have, or just right place, right time. And like, look, the viewers are already interested in another streamer and they don't want to watch you. But there's this weird fucking vibe that the numbers on the screen can just be easily shared amongst each other. This is what creates that horrible, shitty, small streamer mentality. Like, dude, just hand off the viewers to me. I deserve some support. Brother, you don't know if the viewers want to stay and watch you. And then I don't think people respectfully understand the level that you got to get to, or what you have to line up to make consistent revenue. So much consistent to the point where you're not stressing about shit, because a lot of the revenue from streaming comes from community support, but you can't constantly just rely on that community support. That's why we suggest so many people do content. It's what gives me the freedom to be the creator, because a lot of my content is passively making me income while I'm offline and while I'm online, while a lot of the streaming content makes me additional money while I'm live. And by the way, I still stream. I am going to be bringing streams back to YouTube, like a 1 stream a week day where we can do some just chatting, some Q&A. But for now, I stream on a site called Kick. My URL is kick.com/biggie. Dude, it's just like any other stream site. Go make an account, sign up, come say hi. We do Warzone, just chatting, Apex Legends. Chat's trying to talk me into doing that Power World game. I'm just vibing over there now. I don't give a fuck about numbers. I don't give a shit about stats. I'm not trying to grow as a streamer. I 100% use my streams as a way to hang out with y'all and hang out with some homies. So feel free to come by sometime and check it out. Now, I think it's good to point out that I personally get paid to stream. I got a contract with Kick, so they pay me X amount of money for hours for so many months. But honestly, if I wasn't getting that back, I wouldn't stream the amount of hours that I stream, because I can be so much more productive and creating revenue that will be more sustainable when I'm not live. This is why I emphasize the idea so much that it's much better to leverage your audience and leverage the growth that you already have on other socials and utilize live streaming as a way to interact with people, versus this idea of using live streaming to be the thing that grows your community and then finding out ways to make content after you've grown your community from live streaming. On average, that's a dead end. Is it impossible? Can some people do it? Sure. I can think of maybe 1 to 2 to 3 people out there that have gone against the grain a little bit and they got fucking lucky. You can't replicate it. You can't align people that are willing to give somebody thousands of fucking dollars just because your emotions and feelings feel good about it. Like, think about this for a second. In America, the average household income is $75K. Now, that is a little high. That's based on the whole nation average. I don't think everybody on average is making $75K a year. And also that's a household income. So typically 2 people, like my wife and I, both attribute for a total household income. But just for an idea here, if you were wanting to make just average pay in America by yourself, right, you would need at least 2,500 subs on Twitch a month. At the very least, 2,500 subs a month to be able to afford $75,000 a year. You would need 1,300 subs on Kick. It's actually crazy to see that the 2,500 versus 1,300 subs on Kick versus Twitch is a difference between making $75,000 a year. That's fucking mind-blowing. But okay, let's just look at some more realistic numbers here. And I want to just bring an idea here after I mention these numbers. So split that in half. So you have a spouse, or maybe you live in the side of the country where like the rate of living isn't as much. You have $37,500 a year is what you need to make on average, right? To live an average life here in America. That's $3,125 a month. That is 1,250 subs a month on Twitch and 660 subs a month on Kick. Again, it's so crazy to think that you can make $32K a year if you just average 660 subs. I will say that the whole like Kick incentive is a lot more, you get a lot more confidence that it's obtainable. But again, I feel like the point is the pressure on relying from your community to be your full-time income, it's just not worth it. Yes, you get the benefit of the creator incentive program on Kick. If you can get into it, it does attribute for like an extra 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000, depending on the pay you get with the stats that you have. So it's definitely a nice incentive, but makes it more realistic. But listen to this. So I checked one of my YouTube channels, right? And I wanted to give you guys realistic numbers based off the last 28 days. And one channel brought in 150,000 views in the last 28 days, which roughly attributed to $750 in ad revenue. So roughly you would need about 625,000 views a month on YouTube to equal out to 1,250 subs on Twitch or 660 subs on Kick. But the point being is you don't have to rely on specific people. You can actually create videos, you can put more effort into your craft and have better chances of the videos being pushed out and growing over time. And the more repetitive you are and the more consistent you are, the views going up along with that. Like, honestly, think about it for a second. If I was to give somebody advice, would I give the advice of, hey, just find 600 to 1,200 people to subscribe to your channel every month in your live stream, and you can go full time, or find something you're genuinely into, learn how YouTube works, learn how SEO works, and start making videos. Like, what's gonna take less hours? What's gonna be less pressure once you release it out there? What can you learn from more? You see, when you put out a video, you actually have analytics that show you this is where you fucked up. This is where people are not watching. This is why people are watching. When you're in live streaming, you have no way to tell why people are clicking off at a certain time, or why your views dipped even though the new update came out for this game. I can't express enough how the comparison, and it's not just YouTube, but the comparison between creating content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, how much more control you have with the growth of your brand to being able to monetize yourself versus this idea of you're just clicking go live. There's just so many random variables that come with streaming. And look, like, a side of me who literally came from nothing and got to the point where I am today, which I'm happy with. I may not be to the point where other people would idolize, I guess you'd say. Like, I don't have millions. I don't have millions of followers. I don't have millions of dollars, but I'm fucking comfortable, man. I live a life that I didn't imagine I would be living by the time I was 34. If I wanted to talk to my younger self and actually put me on a path of where I am today, was able to actually articulate the journey, I would 100% say, don't waste your fucking time streaming now. Do what you enjoy through content. Become better at your craft. Become better at what you do. And then over time, utilize streaming as a way to monetize your brand even more. The worst scenario I was in over the last 5 years as a creator was when I relied 100% on streaming. I will never, ever fucking do that again. I would 100% full send relying on content. Like, if you actually gave me the options, Biggie, okay, this next year, you either have to go full-time in streaming or you have to go full-time in content. Which one are you gonna, even with my kick and my steak deal, I would give it up in a heartbeat to be a full-time content. I contemplate it all the time. Content for me in comparison to streaming is way less work with way more reward. Even some of my craziest months that I've had in streaming, I've had one brand deal, just one brand deal, surpass that entire month. Over 150 hours streamed, like 5 figures made. One brand deal just thrown my way, surpass that whole entire month. There's so much money and growth and revenue to be made in content. It's just ignorant at this point not to suggest somebody to be making content as a streamer. So just like if I started doing YouTube in 2024 video, the same advice that I have for anybody here that does enjoy streaming or wants to apply streaming in some way to what they do or is inspired by streaming, here's what I would personally do. Whatever hours you have outside of your day-by-day work, I would utilize those hours going all in on your craft, going hard as fuck on content. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, post it everywhere. Get to making verticals, get to making long form content. Pick the thing that you genuinely enjoy, not the thing that you think is most popular. Because when you have an invested interest and you utilize the thing that you would do without anybody asking you to do it in the first place, there's a certain sense of passion and fire and grit behind that and value that you get for being so knowledgeable in said thing that you're into, that I think it's just silly not to use that. Do that, make content, learn from your shit, learn how YouTube works, learn how Twitter works, learn how TikTok, Instagram, learn how all of this shit actually functions so you can be better and you can understand how to push yourself out there more. And then when you get to a certain point where you can monetize and you get more freedom and you have the luxury to spend more time going live, utilize live streaming in a way to connect with people. But you know what's funny about that is I've had so many friends over the years want to be a streamer based off of this idea of why everybody wants to be a streamer. Like, it seems cool to just sit around, be live, make a whole bunch of money. Like, fuck it, dude. Let's just play some video games and make bank, right? I can't tell you the amount of successful creators that I know had that stream dream at first, and then at some point went fucking hard as hell on content, and they are doing exponentially better being a content creator, and they don't even stream anymore. And I think that's honestly most people. If you were to give a lot of aspiring streamers, people that just love streaming, they just want to be this thing, and it has nothing to do with the fact that they follow Tim the Tatman or Nick Mercs or Dr. Disrespect or their favorite League of Legends streamer. I'm willing to bet if you offered a lot of these people an option to make a full-time income, but you can't stream, they would take it in a heartbeat. Do you really want to stream as bad as what you think you do? Do you really want to grow your brand in that grit? Or is it just maybe this dream that you've been sold that it's super easy to do, and once you get there, everything will just figure itself out? All right, that's what I got for you guys today. I'm out. Peace. Deuces.